She vanished in the middle of the night. But the truth was far more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. On June 17, 2019, 23-year-old Mackenzie Lueck, a promising college student at the University of Utah, returned to Salt Lake City after attending her grandmother's funeral in California. Hours later, she disappeared without a trace. What began as a missing persons report quickly unraveled into one of Utah's most chilling and deeply disturbing criminal cases, one involving deception, obsession, and cold-blooded murder. This is the story of Mackenzie Lueck. A young woman full of life, dreams, and kindness, whose final hours were spent in terror at the hands of someone who lived to destroy. Mackenzie Speth Lueck was born on March 8, 1996, in El Segundo, California. One of 4 siblings, she grew up in a tight-knit family that valued education, service, and community. Her parents, Greg and Diana, raised their children in the Latter-day Saint faith, emphasizing kindness, discipline, and ambition. Mackenzie was vibrant and active from a young age. At El Segundo High School, she became a key member of the swim team and the water polo team, often staying late for practice and helping younger teammates improve. Teachers described her as responsible and focused, with a strong sense of empathy that made her a natural caregiver. After graduating, Mackenzie chose to study at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. She majored in kinesiology and had plans to pursue a career in nursing or medicine. Outside her studies, she worked at a biological testing company and remained active in her sorority, Alpha Chi Omega, where she formed strong bonds with other young women navigating college life. Mackenzie was also exploring the world of online dating, something many students use to meet people in today's digital age. She created a profile on Seeking Arrangement, a controversial website where younger women, often referred to as sugar babies, meet older, wealthier men or sugar daddies. That's where she encountered Ayoola Ajayi. Ayoola Ajayi, born in Nigeria in 1988, appeared to be a successful and well-connected individual. On paper, he seemed like a self-made man. He had studied computer science, claimed to work in information technology, and even published a book titled Forge Identity. He owned a home in Salt Lake City's Fair Park neighborhood and had served briefly in the Army National Guard. But Ajayi's polished image was a facade. Behind it lay a disturbing history. He had been banned from Utah State University's campus in 2012 over multiple issues, including a stolen iPad and unresolved visa complications. In 2018, he allegedly assaulted a woman he met on a dating app, biting her and pinning her down when she resisted. His ex-wife told police he threatened to have someone kidnap and kill her. In 2019, just months before Mackenzie's death, Ajayi approached a contractor to build a secret, soundproof room in his home, with hooks on the walls and a biometric lock. The contractor was disturbed by the request and declined. These were red flags, unconnected incidents that, when viewed in hindsight, formed a portrait of a dangerous man hiding in plain sight. On June 17, 2019, Mackenzie flew from California to Salt Lake City, arriving at 1:35 a.m. After texting her mother that she had landed safely, she hailed a Lyft and requested to be dropped off at Hatch Park, a quiet green space in North Salt Lake. The driver, who cooperated fully with the investigation, noted that Mackenzie appeared calm and said she was meeting a friend. At 3 a.m., she exited the vehicle and walked toward a car waiting in the shadows. It was Ayoola Ajayi. From that moment, Mackenzie was never seen alive again. Ajayi had turned off the security cameras at his home. He took Mackenzie back to his house, where he tied her wrists with zip ties and rope. He choked her with his hands and eventually used a belt to strangle her. Autopsy reports later showed blunt force trauma on the side of her head, a 5-centimeter hole in her skull, and signs of hemorrhaging in the brain. Ajayi claimed Mackenzie stopped breathing, and that he then buried her in his backyard along with her belongings. The next day, he lit a fire in his yard, burning her remains. Neighbors recalled a horrible smell, and noticed Ajayi tending a backyard bonfire on both June 17 and 18. A few days later, fearing discovery, Ajayi exhumed what remained of Mackenzie's body, drove nearly 2 hours to Logan Canyon, and buried her again in a shallow grave. When Mackenzie failed to respond to messages, her family grew alarmed. Her father, Greg Lueck, contacted Salt Lake City police and filed a missing persons report. Investigators began tracking Mackenzie's phone records and quickly found her last communication, at 2:58 a.m. on June 17. It was a text to Ayoola Ajayi. Cell tower data placed both Mackenzie and Ajayi at Hatch Park at 2:59 a.m. Police interviewed Ajayi, who denied knowing Mackenzie. But investigators soon found that he and Mackenzie had exchanged multiple messages. A deeper dive into his phone revealed photos of her. A search warrant was issued for his home. What police found there confirmed their worst fears. Ajayi's backyard had a freshly dug area. When police searched it, they discovered charred human remains, muscle tissue, a piece of scalp, bone fragments, and burned personal items, including part of Mackenzie's clothing. The smell of gasoline lingered in his vehicle. Surveillance footage from a local gas station showed Ajayi purchasing a red gas can shortly after 9 a.m. on June 17. The can was recovered from his home. Neighbors reported the fires, and investigators recovered partially burned items from a nearby alley. The evidence was overwhelming. On June 28, 2019, Ayala Ajayi was arrested and charged with multiple felonies, including aggravated murder, kidnapping, desecration of a body, and obstruction of justice. As the weight of the evidence mounted, Ajayi confessed to his attorneys. He told them where Mackenzie's body was buried. On July 3, police and search crews located a disturbed patch of earth in Logan Canyon. Beneath the soil was a charred human body. The Salt Lake City medical examiner confirmed it was Mackenzie Lueck. The community mourned. Ajayi was held without bail. The trial was set for 2020 but delayed to allow prosecutors to review evidence and build a thorough case. On October 7, 2020, Ayala Ajayi pleaded guilty to first-degree aggravated murder and third-degree desecration of a body. In exchange, the death penalty was removed as an option. Charges of kidnapping and obstruction were dropped. On October 23, 2020, he stood before a judge. Judge Vernice Tree sentenced Ajayi to life in prison without parole and an additional 5 years for the desecration charge. Mackenzie's family delivered heart-wrenching victim impact statements. Her father said, "You've taken away a piece of my soul. She was my only daughter." Her cousin said, "This is a nightmare you can't wake up from." Ajayi made a statement of apology, but District Attorney Sim Gill later said, "I don't think he's sorry. I think he's sorry he got caught." After Ajayi's arrest, another woman came forward. She described a chillingly similar encounter from 2018, how Ajayi had assaulted her during a supposed date. He pleaded guilty to second-degree forcible sexual abuse in that case and was sentenced to 1 to 15 years in prison. Even more disturbing, police found child pornography on his computer while investigating Mackenzie's murder. The images depicted children as young as 4. Ajayi was charged with 19 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. Though he initially pleaded not guilty, many of those charges were later dismissed. Mackenzie's death sent shockwaves through the University of Utah and beyond. Students held candlelight vigils. Her sorority sister shared memories of her kindness and strength. Her professors recalled her intelligence and drive. Her parents established a scholarship in her name for students pursuing health science. They speak at universities and high schools about digital safety, trusting instincts, and honoring Mackenzie's legacy through action. The tragedy sparked conversations nationwide about online dating, women's safety, and the red flags we sometimes overlook. The murder of Mackenzie Lueck was not just the loss of one young life. It was a reminder of how evil can hide in plain sight, and how important it is to listen to our instincts, speak out, and protect one another. Her story lives on in the hearts of her family, friends, and a community determined to remember her not as a victim, but as a vibrant, loving, and courageous young woman whose light was extinguished far too soon. Was justice truly served? Or are there still cracks in the system that allowed a predator to blend in and strike again? If this story moved you, like, comment, and subscribe for more real crime stories that uncover the truth, no matter how dark it may be.